Well, hello everyone out there tuning in. This is our post-run derby video, and I think I'm going to call this one's Lessons Learned in the title, as we knew these lessons and we just can't ignore them anymore. So you can see here we did get a little trophy there, best paint trophy, which is good. I would have been pretty upset if not only because I think it's a pretty cool paint job, but I think I spent probably about 6 hours stripping it and getting it ready to run in the stock derby. Again, pretty simple, just get everything removed and then in order. Didn't move the tank or anything, so pretty simple stuff. Didn't even have to redo the battery wires, just kind of ran them through the back into the car. I probably spent about 5 or so hours painting it several times, so I in essence spent as much painting time as I did with the actual car building itself. But that was neat, and you know, we got a trophy car, that's our rule. But you can see those front right and left, if I can say it right, wheel axles were in fact weak. You can see there we have a busted strut. That one I just got pressed into a tiny bit and it went. And then the one over here, just to show it, strut broke as well, but the frame snapped first, which is where it was weak and where we knew it was bad. But that wasn't ultimately what did me in. I said to myself, well, hey, you gotta, show your driving skills, keep the front end clean, and don't let them get in your wheels. That's the weak spot in general in these stock cars, especially this one. The transmission burn up. It, not even a minute in, it had a little 5-speed in it again, and not even a minute in, it started just slipping. Like, I didn't even think I was in gear. I couldn't get it to grab any gear. I was running through the gears. And it was, I watched the video, you could see it spinning a little bit, but it was just slipping and smoke was roaring out of the bottom of the car. I couldn't really tell until after I watched the video. So not even a minute in before I had any of that wheel problem. As you can see, the back end, I mean, got a couple hits in, couple guys hit me, but the car was really fine until I was sitting dead in the middle because I couldn't get a gear to grab. Couldn't get reverse, first, second, third, fourth. I went through the shifting and couldn't get anything to grab. And then after I was sitting there, Oliver, he's a good young driver, he kind of just pushed me on my left side and I could feel it kind of drop me a little bit. I think he broke the strut there where it mounts onto the wheel. And then I was still sitting there and it was kind of grabbing in first. And then another young driver, young Walker, came and smacked me on the other side and it busted that one off completely. And then this one went and gave in. And even though I'm sitting there running, gears aren't grabbing, I was absolutely dead then. So yeah, I mean, up front, like I said, I didn't get hit in the front or anything. I mean, everything in here looks exactly like what it did before. In fact, guy had asked about the motor before I derbied, so as soon as I was done, I was like, hey, if you want it, I mean, the motor runs really good. That's why I ultimately ended up running it, and that is the lesson learned. So the lesson learned, which I knew before, I learned this lesson 3 years ago. I ran a piece of junk Grand Am, I think it was. Yeah, Grand Am, not the Grand Prix. And it was so rusted at the axles too, that same thing, I got hit in the door. I didn't even think I got hit in the wheel really, and it just snapped. Not only the front two, all 4 of the axles were snapped. It's on this my YouTube page, Demolitionnoobs. I believe I had a post run for that one too. It looked like a hovercraft as they were taking me off. But I last year had a Cavalier and I said, I don't want to run this because I looked at the wheels and I'm like, man, the axles and that, I mean, they're all rusted out. But the back half, it's worthless. I mean, if that's rusted, the body's rusted, that's not a big deal. I have a Sentra back in our yard that I'm really excited about, and it's super rusted on the outside and that. But that Sentra, he put new, what would it be, A-arms, right? I believe they're called there. And that thing looks really good at the wheels. And he also has 2 new struts on the front of the Sentra. So I'm excited about that one later in the summer. We're going to run it. But this one, from now on, if you're someone like myself, and shout out to Brian Shevitz, Senior, I was talking with him, and he said this, and I mean, again, I knew this, but these are the lessons learned. You're going to look at a derby car. I paid at most $50 for this car, and if this guy buys this motor like he claims he's going to today or tomorrow, I probably actually made a little bit of money on it from the aluminum wheels, has the stock converter, etc. But to derby it, I mean, again, 5, maybe 6 hours, that's not really a big deal. The paint job, I said I put more time into, or as much time into. But to derby it, you're just not winning with one of these cars. I mean, maybe you can have fun for a couple minutes, but somebody, like I said, even presses in your wheels and you're done. So whenever you're looking for a derby car, the lesson learned, look at those front wheels. Again, the back are dead. Who cares what they look like? But you got to look at those front wheels, the frame up front here around the motor. And if it is that bad, I mean, like I said, if you're paying $350, $400 and it's got the stock converter and all that stuff, even a title especially, maybe someone you know, which this one doesn't have a title, but it has the stock converter and everything. So I'm probably going to make a little bit of money off of it, but to put a ton of time into derbying it, not worth it. But hey, you want to just throw it in there, see how long you can last. That was kind of my mindset. It ran so good that I'm like, well, heck, I know my front wheels ain't going to last long, but I'm going to see if I can, you know, have some fun and protect it before I scrap it. And like I said, I was really fine. I was doing a good job, if you will, of keeping the front end clean. They ran heats, so there were 12 of us in there, but it didn't end well. But still had a fun. It's a blast going to the derbies, and you know, I think it looked pretty cool. Maybe a young kid or something thought it was cool. You know, I make the videos kind of as I go, but again, scrapping her, everything worked, you know, exactly like it should. The stock tank, I mean, stock compacts, you really don't need to, especially with these cars that are tucked up in really far. The Impala I have, the wiring that runs to the fuel cell, unfortunately, is back in the trunk in that Impala, so I'm gonna have to get a little bit, see if I can move it at all in to the car without messing any of the stuff up in that Impala. Otherwise, I'll just run it and just kind of keep an eye on it and have to start using the front quicker than normally would if it's getting too close to it. But again, that Smith's motor work bolted in there. That thing is beautiful. I know a lot of people just ratchet strap, but I didn't have success with the ratchet strap. That thing there, I love it. And the strap again behind keeps the seat stable and it gives you a nice armrest. So again, everything worked great, just like you'd hope, except for that transmission. And once the transmission went and I'm sitting there dead in the water, a couple of those young drivers didn't even hit me that hard. I mean, Walker, he got a little bit of a run on me and put a smack on me, but I was already done at that point. I had no gears grabbing, so that was just kind of the final blow. So time to strip what we can use off it, sell what we can off it, scrap it, and hopefully have a better run with our next one. But lessons learned. Look at those front wheels again, inside there, the frame, those A-arms, the strut, and if it is that badly rusted, I mean, if you're getting it for dirt cheap, free, or maybe even making a little bit off of it, sure. Otherwise, pass it up and get to one that you can win a feature with.